Instagram just launched a game-changing new feature that's going to change the way you see content on the platform forever. This feature has led to massive engagement drops for some creators, while some users of the platform are no longer seeing content from their favorite creators that they want to see, even if they've been engaging on every single post. And I don't think enough people are talking about this feature, which is why today I'm making this video. So let's dive into this new feature. First, we'll go over what it is. Second, we'll go over how it's causing such a drastic engagement drop on the platform. And then third, we'll go over how to fix all of this, both as a creator and as a user who wants to see content from their favorite creators. Now, if you've watched a lot of my recent videos about the Instagram Explore page and how to go viral and gain a ton of growth from the Instagram Explore page, then you would have heard me discussing the idea that you need a high trust score to rank on the Explore page and grow your audience rapidly. This is because Instagram need to trust that you have quality content that is safe for their users to enjoy and isn't going to disturb anyone. This is especially important on the Explore page because when your content is being pushed here, people haven't chosen to follow you. Instagram are making recommendations, and so they have to really trust your account to put your content there. The reason, for example, that Instagram have said they won't put violent content on the Explore page is because it could potentially disturb some people. And because people haven't chosen to follow that person, they don't want to push potentially harming and disturbing content onto them. Whereas it's totally fine to post that type of content and have it show up in someone's feed because people have chosen to follow that. Well, now Instagram have gone a step further, and rather than assuming what we want to see, like assuming we don't want to see violent content or assuming we do want to see that content, they've given us the option to choose. What they've done is they've gone ahead and created the sensitive content control tool, which gives you the choice of what you're okay with. So you can now choose how explicit or not explicit the content is on your Explore feed. Now, I assume the reason behind this is because some people will want to see more aggressive content. For example, someone that loves MMA, boxing, and fighting sports may want to see highlight clips and reels and tutorials of how to do that kind of stuff because that's what they love. If they're just showing content that they find boring and PG and not that interesting, they're just going to leave the app, and that's no good for Instagram. So now they're letting people sort of control what they see more of. And this feature allows Instagram to cater to pretty much everyone. They can cater to the highly sensitive people that only want to see really family-friendly content, and they can also cater to people who want to see a bit of a wider variety of content or a bit more extreme content, whether it be extreme sports, whether it be sexually explicit potentially, although they probably won't push that too far, and so on. Now, to find this feature and to adjust it to what you want to see, all you have to do is go to your account, click the three lines at the top, then go to settings, then you're going to click account down the bottom, and then sensitive content controls. And here it says on your Explore page, we're giving you more control over the photos and videos you see. This setting can help limit offensive content you may find upsetting or offensive. Now, interestingly, at the time that I was planning out this video, I only had two options. I only had limit/default, which is automatically selected, and limit even more. However, now that I come to record this video, it actually gives me the third option for allow as well. So some of you out there for sure definitely only have two options. I've seen a lot of people complaining about this. It looks like they're trying to fix that, so they're going to give you all three options as soon as possible, because when I planned this yesterday, like I say, allow was not there, but now it is. And so when I select allow sensitive content, it says you may see more photos or videos that could be upsetting or offensive. Now, as you saw before, this was originally set to default, where it says you may see some photos and videos that could be upsetting or offensive. Now, this has pretty much been how the Explore page was in the past. I think some people think that it used to be like set to allow for everyone, and now it's set to limit on default, and you have to change it. As far as I'm aware, it's always been at that slightly limit, but now they're giving you the idea or the option, to open it up to allow or restrict it even more to limit even more, as it's very easily named. Now, if we look at limit even more, it says you may see fewer photos and videos that could be upsetting or offensive. Pretty simple choice. And whilst this may seem like a relatively simple, small feature, it's causing havoc for some creators, especially those who create somewhat risky content. Now, when we talk about risky content or content that could be considered potentially offensive or harming, there's actually a decent list of this. There's like 25 different things that fit into this category. I made a full video of it. I'll put the screenshot of that up there. I will try find a screenshot with the list of everything and put it up on the screen so you can pause it, take a look, read through them. I don't want to go over them again for the majority of you who have probably already seen that video. However, a lot of these are kind of common sense. If you talk about vaccines, or negatively talk about vaccines, I should say, then you are going to fall into this category. If you post violent content, then you're going to fall into this category. Sexually explicit content, financial claims, health claims are a big one as well. Like if you're saying people can lose crazy amounts of weight or get crazy results doing certain crazy things, then you'll fall into that category too. That's sort of like the 5 main ones. The rest are all pretty much common sense, like things that could be considered risky or not advertiser friendly. And it looks like people whose content fits into some of these niches or is close to these niches, like fitness creators, for example, have seen a big engagement drop. And most of this is coming because their content is not getting pushed on the explore page enough, because Instagram are sort of waiting for people to select allow before they will put this stuff back onto the explore page, it seems. It seems as if like experts in the fitness niche or models or people in that space where they border on these categories have been taken off the explore page, and then when people start selecting allow, that content will come back. And in the long run, I think this will actually be better for those creators because you'll get increased reach, because when people specifically say they want to see more of that content or they don't want it restricted as much, then you should be able to reach a larger group of people, because when Instagram's algorithm is making assumptions in the past as to whether or not you want to see that, they're probably going to err on the safe side, because it's much easier for them to err on the safe side than the not so safe side. Now, before we move on to how to fix this, I just want to bring up the point that Instagram said this is specifically for the explore page. However, even though Instagram are being much more transparent nowadays, it would be silly for us to assume that they wouldn't use this feature to somewhat influence the rankings on the home feed as well, and what suggestions you see across the platform, as it's another piece of data that indicates to Instagram what you want to see. So they're going to use that to create or to push better content, in front of you that you're more likely to enjoy, and so you have a better experience on the app. So for example, if you select the limit even more option and then someone you follow posts something that borders on the explicit side of things, whether it be a health claim, financial claim, sexually explicit, violent content, etc., then that may rank lower in your feed, or you may not even see it at all. However, by selecting allow in your settings, you're more likely for that to be higher up in your feed. That's not entirely confirmed, but I feel like it's a pretty educated guess to make. I also saw James Smith, who is a successful fitness coach and built a huge audience in that niche. He was running a Q&A on his story where someone said ever since the introduction of this feature, like last week, they didn't see his content anymore in their feed, and that's because his content probably falls into the health claims and potentially occasionally nudity and often swearing. He doesn't mind a few swear words, that is for sure. He might have picked that up when he moved to Australia. So even though they were following him and his content would usually be in their feed, since this change, since they hadn't, selected the allow in their settings, they didn't see his content as often because it fits into this category, which sort of furthers my idea that this will sort of cater across the whole platform. And this is why many people have seen a drastic overnight drop because of that. Now, it's just going to take time and educating your audience to select allow and to turn on post notifications and so on, which is where we get into the final part of the video where we're going to go over how do you actually fix this. Well, as a user, if you want to see more content from your favorite creators who might fit into these categories, all you have to do is simply click allow, and then if you really like a creator, turn on post notifications, which you should do on this channel if you enjoy these videos and want to see them more often. turn on post notifications, and subscribe. Now, as a creator, if you want to fix your reach after this change, it could be a little bit more difficult and take a little bit of time. Now, the short-term solution is to simply post on your Instagram story, tell people about this, or there's been a ton of posts going around that people have been sharing that have informed people of this, so people know about it. This didn't get a lot of publicity aside from creators talking about it, so by telling people that this exists and mentioning that you can change your settings to allow, then you should be able to get a lot more of your audience to do so, which means they can see your content again. And then, as mentioned, you can also talk about on your stories and even at the bottom of your captions in general for people to turn on their post notifications if they don't want to miss any of your content, which should boost your overall engagement as well and help you grow faster. That's the short-term option. Now, the long-term option, which I highly suggest you do, especially as a business, is to create an email newsletter. This way you can directly contact your audience right into their inbox without the middleman of social media algorithms, which could potentially be pushing out your content and censoring what you post. This way you can talk about whatever topics you want, you can send the content when you want, you can talk directly to your audience, and it's also a lot easier to monetize, systemize, automate, all of those good words. And on top of that, you receive way more attention when someone is reading your email compared to a social media post, which is filled with distractions. Coming back to James Smith, the fitness guy that I referenced earlier, he's mastered this and done this very well. What he'll do is he'll put out a ton of content into his Instagram feed that is valuable, engaging, and shareable. So he'll create IGTVs where he speaks his mind, he'll create informative videos, he'll create posts, he'll get controversial on topics, he'll post quotes, all of the stuff here, transformation photos, etc., things he's learning, and he puts that out on his Instagram to gain attention. Then he converts that attention into his daily newsletter that he runs over his email, so he collects people's name and email address for them to get on there. And then from here, he can promote his products, he can promote his speaking gigs, he can promote his books, he can promote all of these things. I believe he's got a monthly subscription plan for his training programs. You can promote all of these things direct to people's inbox, and it's not getting less reach because he swore, or it's not getting less reach because he's promoting something and it's less engaging. And on top of that, if his account gets deleted, then it's fine. He can still contact his audience and he can just make a new account and say, hey, go follow this one. He's got full ownership. This is actually a concept heavily talked about in this book here, .com Secrets, from Russell Brunson, which, by the way, I highly suggest you read if you're trying to build an online business, where he talks about the three forms of traffic. Number one is traffic you don't control, like social media, for example, traffic you do control, which is like ads, and then traffic you own. And his whole philosophy is you use traffic you don't control, social media, traffic you control, ads, to get it to a place that you own. So you can build up an audience that you own and can talk to and can communicate with and can provide value to and make an income from, and no one can take that away from you. Then you go out and leverage platforms like Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube, all of these places to get awareness, to get interest, and then you push that onto your list where you own it, and so on. Now, before someone comments saying that I don't have this in place, it's not something I've done a lot of recently. I have been emailing my customers recently, so if you picked up my $9 ebook and mini course, you'll also get weekly emails, which allows me to contact and engage with my most engaged fans. So if you want that subtle plug, go grab it in the description. However, I am also working on a free email newsletter too, so I'll be taking my own advice on that one. Now, it's not free to run an email list because it's not being paid for by companies that are running ads on your content. However, I think it is also very powerful, and I think if you want to avoid all these algorithm changes and build up an audience of people that you control the distribution to, it is definitely worth looking into. If you want to see me create content around how to do that, I definitely can. But that's it for this video. See you all next time. Hope you got something out of it, and I'll leave links for everything below. I'll leave links for my ebook, my course. I'll leave a link for this book, the tools I use, all of that. I'm going to have my coffee. Catch you later. Have a good one. Cheers.